There's a stirring deep within, where the passion has no more. Oh, my soul lives to know you. I wanna know you more. I wanna hear your voice. Take me to the secret place where I find you. Take me from this barren earth. I don't want to be the same. In your presence I am changed. You make me new. Oh, I wanna know you more. I wanna hear your voice. Take me to the secret place where I find you, where everything fades away. closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Yeah, just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Whoops, I did that wrong.
Do you want us both on high harmonies? Because I can do the lower harmonies.
No, I want you both. I'm gonna go one more down. That still felt a little fast. But okay, so I want you guys out the first time, melody second time, and then split third and fourth. We do it 6 times total.
Okay, so
Let's just run it again and I'll tell you as we go. Let's just start from the top on this one.
yeah, honestly.
All
Alright, I'll just do
Okay.
like the ending of whatever I'm playing.
Yep.
The name of Jesus.
I come just as I am and bring you all of me. Where I end is where you begin. There's a stirring deep within, where the passion has grown. Oh, my soul, it is to know you. I want to know you more, and I want to hear your voice. Take me to the secret place where I find you. Take me from this barren place. I don't want to be the same. In your presence, I am changed. You make me new. Oh, I want to know you more, and I want to hear your voice. Take me to the secret place where I find you, where everything fades away, and I'm covered by your grace. There's nothing I want more. You're all we want, God. You're all we need, Lord. In the time of the chaos, pull us closer now. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Let's keep on melody. Be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Oh, just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be, that was perfect. Just to be nearer, just to know you more. So we want just to be closer,
But that was perfect how you guys came in. Melody, you came in on the second time. You came in second or third or whatever. But I loved where you split. That was a perfect spot. Okay. All right. Top of the bridge.
Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Yeah, just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Yeah, just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. I wanna know you more. I wanna hear your voice. Take me to the secret place where I find you. Where everything fades away and I'm covered by your grace. There's nothing I want more. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to
First time dropping that pick ever.
just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more.
And now I'll give you a cue if we're gonna go back to the chorus. That sounded good. Yeah. Okay, it's just playing. Is that in my?
Your big phone?
Yeah. Did you not hear me stop playing?
Oh, that's what that was? I
Yeah.
heard you stop the
Yeah, because it just flung and I was like, God! So I grabbed a new one. Okay, let's pray quick. So I'll wait till like come in strumming until I hear the line so I know that we're in on this.
The line for just
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Oh, really?
Okay.
I forgot. I was used to kneeling. Yep. Okay.
God, for this night, I thank you for all these team members and God, their volunteering to be on the team. Help out with that, God. I pray that this night would go well and that the students would just be engaged and worship and they would get to see you more and want to know you more. I pray, God, that they wouldn't be distracted by things going on in the world and just pray that everything works smoothly, that everyone will pick.
Amen.
And yeah, amen.
Woo! Good prayer. Need that.
I have my tickets for when I play ukulele so often.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Oh, that is sad.
It's really annoying.
That is annoying.
place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. Here in your love, here in your love. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. Here in your love, your love.
Yeah, we'll be good. We'll be just fine with that one.
testing the mic. I'm testing the mic. Is it even on? Have you guys turned on the receivers? Whenever you're ready.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
All right, happy Wednesday, everybody. So, and to everyone online, happy Wednesday. I'm so glad you could join us. We are going to be kicking tonight off with a trivia game. And the way this is going to work is you guys are going to be on your own doing this trivia. And our players at home, you will be able to be included in this trivia game as well. So what I'm going to have everyone do is you're going to come up in a minute. You're going to grab a piece of paper and a pen. You're going to return to your seat. Then I am going to ask trivia questions. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, probably 10 of them. You're going to answer them to the best of your ability. And then I'm going to tell you at the very end how many you got correctly. And the people with the most correct answers win their choice of candy. I have Starburst, Skittles, Three Musketeers, and Snickers. Almost all those start with S except for the Three Musketeers because they're trash. Okay, at home, I want you to do the same thing. Grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, write down the number of correct answers that you have on the piece of paper, okay? Don't just like in your head be like, oh, I got that one right, I got that one right. No. Write it down as we go through. And then at the very end, I want you to write down the number of correct responses that you had, and the person at home who gets the most number of correct answers will win a prize next time I see you. If there's only one of you playing this game, only one of you can win. So, play the game. All right, if you are a girl, come on up and grab a piece of paper and a pen. Actually, I should grab my questions. Where did I put those? Right here. If you are a lady. Just a reminder, masks are on for everyone except for me because I have to talk into a microphone. And then, boys, come on and grab a piece of paper and a pen. And you can start numbering 1 through 10 on your paper, right on the ground if you need to, because I don't have a surface for you. 1 through 10. And you can go grab a seat. Make sure you're at least 3 seats away from other people that are not in your household. All right, so grab a seat. Write numbers 1 through 10 on your paper. I'm gonna start in like 10 seconds. Oh no, I'll throw a pen to you. You're wearing glasses, I don't have to worry about your eyes. Oh, baseball. That was a baseball catch over there, Jared. That was good. There might be a pen in front of you in one of those holders if your pen still does not work. A trick that I've learned is to lick the tip of the pen. It helps start it. If it's a brand new pen, sometimes it needs to be started. You could also lick the toilet seat. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Actually, Emma said she just cleaned them, so I don't have any cash on me, but I have some coupons for free coffee if anyone wants to go lick one of the... No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So we're going to get started. And question number 1. What are the names of the 3 good fairies from Sleeping Beauty? Oh, we're playing hard, kids. Do your best. If you can get one of them correct, I will give you this question. What are the names of the 3 good fairies from Sleeping Beauty? Sleeping Beauty. This is some Disney trivia. Do your best, and if you don't know, guess. You have 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, you guys ready for some other ones? Actually, we're not going to ask that one because it's impossible. This next question that we're going to skip, name all the daughters of Triton, who's the king from Little Mermaid, and there's 7 of them. All of them. They all start with A. That's hard. All right, this one's possible. What is the only soundtrack from a Disney movie that went platinum 10 times? So this is the most popular soundtrack, and I'll give you a hint. It is from the early 90s. So the Disney movie that went platinum 10 times. This is the soundtrack. What Disney movie has the only soundtrack that has been certified as diamond or went platinum 10 times? It's from the early 90s. This is the second question. Question number 2. I was a wee little boy when this movie came out. I'll give you another hint. Hamlet. Hamlet. That's a hint if you know Hamlet. I don't think I can answer that question, ask that question again. It's the only Disney movie to go platinum 10 times, the soundtrack. All right. Man, some of these are obscure. This is question number 3. What was the very first Disney movie that actually had a soundtrack? So think of a really old Disney movie. What was the first Disney movie to ever have a soundtrack? So it's probably a musical. I'll give you another hint. It was from 1937. Do not use your phones to cheat or use the internet. It came out in 1937. This is some hard trivia, ain't it? That's question number 3. Question number 4. Oh, actually, I think I'm on the wrong side of the sheet. Okay, yes. This is question number 4. What movie is this quote from? If you can't say something nice, don't say something at all. If you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all. What movie is that quote from? If you can name the person who said it, I'll count that. I'll give you a hint. The movie came out in 1942. Yes. If you can write both, I will give you an extra point. All right. This is question 5. Name the movie this quote is from. If you can name the person that said it, in addition, I will give you an extra point. Think of all the joy you'll find when you leave the world behind and bid your cares goodbye. You can fly. I'll give you a hint. This movie came out in 1953. I'll read the quote again. What movie is this from? And if you can tell me who said it, I'll give you an extra point. Think of all the joy you'll find when you leave the world behind and bid your cares goodbye. You can fly. It might be part of a song. What movie is this from? Same rules. If you can tell me who said it, you'll get an extra point. You don't have to be timid. You must be bold and daring. This movie came out in 1991. You don't have to be timid. You must be... Oh, sorry. I'm going to say that again. You don't have time to be timid. You must be bold and daring. That's question 6, right? Question 6. This next question is question number 7. Same rule. Always let your conscience be your guide. Always do not say it out loud. If you say it out loud, I have a slingshot in my car and I will shoot you with it. The metal BB. Ethan, did you say that? Whoa! I have a pen in my hand. I can throw it at you. That movie came out in 1940. Always let your conscience be your guide. Question number 8. I'm going to skip that one. Okay. Some of you will get this one. This one might be a little more mainstream. If you keep on believing, the dream that you wish will come true. If you keep on believing, the dream that you wish will come true. Movie and character will get you extra points. Ooh, this one's going to be an easy one. This is number 9. Venture outside your comfort zone. The rewards are worth it. This movie came out in 2010. So you guys were all little babies when this movie came out. Venture outside your comfort zone. The rewards are worth it. It was also the most expensive film ever made at that point in time. $260 million. All right, last question. Ooh, this is a 90s kid trivia question. Erica is going to know this. Grant, probably. Nah, maybe not. You might have been too cool for this movie. Which 1998 Disney film was Lindsay Lohan's first movie? Erica's got it. Was that? That's number 10, the last question. What 1998 Disney film was Lindsay Lohan's film debut? I will tell you, she starred as a character named Hallie Parker.
Which one was the fly one?
I'll tell you guys right now. You guys ready for the answers?
No, which one was the flying one? You said something about flying.
What number was it?
Which one was that?
Do you guys remember which one that was? I think it was like number 6 or 7. I'm seeing number 5. The flying one was number 5. Okay. First question. What are the names of the 3 good fairies from Sleeping Beauty? If you got any of these, it's 1 point. Okay? Flora, Fauna, F-A-U-N-A, and Merryweather. If you got any of those, it was 1 point. You could get 3 on that one. All right, next question. Which Disney movie boasted the only soundtrack for an animated film to be certified diamond? The answer was The Lion King. 1994. All right, next question. Which Disney movie, this is number 3, right? Which Disney movie was the first to have a soundtrack? Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. That is 1 question. That is 1 point. All right, this is where we get into the quotes. So 1 point if you have the correct movie, 2 points if you have the name of the person who said it and the movie. If you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all, is Thumper in the movie Bambi. Thumper from the movie Bambi. That's a 1942 movie. Raise your hand if you've seen Bambi. Okay, you have to have seen Bambi. That is a requirement. If you're gonna kill an animal, you need to watch Bambi. Because if you can watch Bambi and still kill and eat an animal, you're a real man. All right. This is question number 5. Think of all the joy you'll find when you leave the world behind and bid your cares goodbye. You can fly. from the movie Peter Pan, said by Peter Pan. I believe it's part of the song. You can fly, you can fly, you can fly. You guys remember that? Raise your hand if you've seen Peter Pan. Ethan and, oh my goodness, you guys, I've missed out. I forgot about that. That movie is super racist. Holy crud. And it's misogynistic. Wow. Peter Pan. It's racist to Native American people. Like super racist. Wow, you're right. This is number 6. You don't have to be timid, you must be bold and daring. It's from Beauty and the Beast. And it's said by Lumiere, the candle dude. You remember him? All right, number 7. Always let your conscience be your guide is from Jiminy Cricket in the movie Pinocchio. Raise your hand if you've seen Pinocchio. That's another important movie. That was number 7, yeah. Okay, number 8. Venture outside your comfort zone. The rewards are worth it is Rapunzel from the movie Tangled. That's the 2010 movie. Actually, that might have been number 9. Did I miss one? What one did I miss? What? Dream. Oh, if you keep on believing, the dream that you wish will come true. From Cinderella. Said by Cinderella. That's number 8, right? Yeah, I skipped number 8. My mistake. If you keep on believing the dream that you dream or the wish that you dream, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't handle Cinderella when I was a kid. Number 10, the final question. What 1998 Disney film was Lindsay Lohan's first? The Parent Trap. She played 2 twins that were separated at birth, who found each other at a summer camp and became best friends, and they tricked their divorced parents into remarrying. And that was like, Lindsay Lohan might have been my first crush in those movies. Just gonna throw that out there. I know. Little 6-year-old Justin was like, ooh, those girls with freckles are cute. And I thought there were 2 of them. I didn't realize it was the same person. All right. Raise your hand if you got more than 5 points. I mean, when you do the math, you could have gotten like 18 points or something like that from this. Raise your hand if you got more than 6 points. The Krubies know their Disney trivia. 7 points. 8 points. Emma's the only one I'm seeing. Emma and Sydney, 9 points. You guys tied? All right, so I think it would be Emma and Sydney. You can come up and pick out your candy. Joe, you can pick out your candy because you beat your brother, right? Joe had one more than you? How many did you have? You both had 7? If you had 7, come up and get candy. And if you are at home, I can't really tell from the chat. I see Epic Clubbing, Epic Cubing, saying hi. Tyler, what are you doing? Tyler, how many did you get? You got 2? Well, put it in the chat. Maybe if no one else puts anything in the chat, I'll give you some candy. Oh, there's some pressure right there. All right. It is time for us to spread out and go into worship. So you can crumple up your papers and put it in your mouth. And leave your masks on during worship. We're going to spread out as far as we can from other people while we sing. And so, junior hires, I want to make sure you heard that. As far as you can from other people, okay? While we do worship. So I'm going to pray as you guys spread out, and then the worship team is going to come on up. So while you guys spread out, just find a spot, and I'm going to pray. I don't want you to walk with your eyes closed, so I'm going to wait till everyone finds a spot. I don't want anyone to die. All right, can you guys bow your heads with me, close your eyes. Just start, God, would you start to just push our hearts to be ready to connect with you, Father. Would we begin to move in our minds and our spirits to a place where we're ready to be thankful for all you've done in our lives, for the protection that you've provided, for the loving families that you've given to us, Father, for the consistency that we get to have in our lives. Would we just think of all the things we have to be thankful for? And as we go into this time of worship, would it come out of us and would it return to you as songs and as worship and as praise for how good you are and how amazing you are? Would you be honored, not just by the songs that we sing, but by the way that we live our lives? Would thankfulness become a habit? We're constantly dwelling on how good things are because you're active and you're participating in our lives. In your name, amen.
Well, good evening, guys. How are you guys doing tonight? Yes, great. I love it. Well, as you know, there's a lot of things going on in our world right now that can be pretty distracting. And as I was thinking about these songs that we're singing tonight, I thought how amazing it is that we have a God who's greater than everything that's going on in the world right now, who's above the sin of the world, who's greater than anything that's going on in your life. And so before we go into worship tonight, let's just close your eyes and take a moment to get to a place where you can lay all those distractions aside, whether it's about what's going on in the world or whether it's something personal, so that you can get to a place where you don't have any distractions and we can worship God for who He is and what He's done completely.
Leah talked a lot about the different things going on in our world, in our lives. And I just think it's important that we spend some time and really seek God and ask Him to come and move on our behalf in our lives. Whatever you came in here with today, He's more powerful than. And so I want us to spend a little more time singing this, but to sing it over our lives. And declare the power of Jesus in our lives and over the things that we're dealing with. And over the things that are happening in our country and in our community. So can we sing this out over our lives? What a powerful name it is. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. You're in control, God. What a powerful name it is. Nothing can stand against. Now sing with me. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. Sing it again. What a powerful name it is. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a powerful name it is. Nothing can stand against. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. We lean into your power, God. We lean on you, 'cause you're greater. Teach our hearts to turn to you. And sing, I come just as I am. I come just as I am, and bring you all of me. Where I end is where you begin. It's just you and Him tonight. There's a stirring deep within, where the passion has grown. Oh, my soul lives to know you. Sing it right to Him. Oh, I wanna know you more. I wanna hear your voice. Take me to the secret place where I find you. You're not far away. Take me from this barren place. I don't want to be the same. In your presence I am changed. You make me new. Oh, I wanna know you more, and I wanna hear your voice. Take me to the secret place where I find you, where everything fades away. be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Yeah, just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. It's all we want. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. I wanna know you more, and I wanna hear your voice. Take me to the secret place where I find you, where everything fades away, and I'm covered by your grace. There's nothing I want more, just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Oh, it's closer, God, just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you. Let him tear down the walls. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you. There's no space between us. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you. He's doing a new thing now. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you. Oh, I wanna know you, and I wanna hear your voice. Take me to the secret place where I find you. Take us deeper, Lord, where everything fades away, and I'm covered by your grace. There's nothing I want more. Sing just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you. Feel your hearts connecting now. Just to be closer, just to be nearer, just to know you more. Just to be closer, just to know you more. There's no sweeter place than your presence.
I was praying during the first song we were singing. We were singing What a Beautiful Name It Is. I was just praying over the service. God, would you be in the worship? God, would you be in my message? And usually when I'm praying these types of prayers, I don't, God doesn't always speak. Usually when I come up here at the end of worship, it's like I'm on fire for something that's in my heart. You know, God's put something in my heart, but I haven't necessarily heard his voice. And I was praying and God just started going off. And what he said to me, he said, I want you to listen to the sound of my name. And so in my mind, I was like, okay, God, you know, your name is Yahweh. And I started breaking down what that means in the Hebrew. He said, no. I want you to listen to the sound of my name. And I realized at that moment, they were singing the words, what a beautiful name it is, what a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. And around that time, the words nothing can stand against started coming out. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Jesus' name, Jesus, is actually in Hebrew is Yeshua. And Yeshua, some of my friends in the house watching this right now might know that Yeshua actually is derivative of the name Joshua. And Joshua was a character in the Old Testament who led the nation of Israel after Moses did. And if Moses was the guy that brought the laws and freed Israel from slavery, Joshua was a conqueror. Joshua led them into the land that God had promised them, and he led them as they went from tribe and city to city, conquering everyone that occupied the land that God had given to them. Joshua was a warrior leader. He was a conqueror. And that's what Jesus' name is. Yeshua. It means a conqueror. And that was intentional. It wasn't an accident that Jesus' name was a name of a conqueror. And we're going to be talking about it today. But God just put in my heart that I needed to share that with you as we go into the sermon. Maybe when I wrote it, it wasn't good enough. And God needed to add that part. But as we go into the next sermon today, I want you to remember this in your heart, that God gave Jesus the name of conqueror for a reason. And as we worship and as we lift him up, that needs to be at the forefront of your mind when you think about where you're at with Jesus. You're worshiping a conqueror. You're not worshiping someone who's weak-willed. You're not worshiping someone who's passive. You're worshiping someone that goes out ahead and wins the battle. With that, you guys can come and grab a seat. Thank you, worship team. And Leah, thank you for letting me borrow your music. I couldn't remember the words. Like, this happens every time. I'm like, ooh, I like those lyrics. I'm going to say something about those. And then by the time we sing the next song, those lyrics are gone from my brain. Because all I can think about is the song that I'm currently singing. All right. So a long time ago, around the time I got married to my wife, Michelle. It's like 6 years ago. I've been married for 6 years. Do you guys know that? We had a guy at Abundant Life Church whose job was to make videos for everything. He would make announcement videos on Sunday. He would make opening videos for us. He would make announcement videos for youth. And he would do a lot of fun videos, right? And so he got paid by the church to do this because he was so good at it. He'd been working at it for so long. And so he just posted a ton of stuff on YouTube from the old days. And so I have been going back and looking at all these old videos, and I'm in some of them. And I decided that we were going to do a retro sermon series because I saw a series intro that I really, really loved. I was like, you know what? That's a good sermon series. So we're going to do a retro sermon series. And if I could have the intro play, we're going to show you guys right now. The other one, Phil. Oh, sorry, dude. It's the other one.
Okay, describe me how he looks.
He's white, short Middle Eastern dude, and he had a really grizzly beard, blonde hair for sure, scraggly dark hair,
long flowing hair.
no big mohawk. I mean, nothing stood out about him appearance-wise. He was a really average person.
I'll never forget his eyes. They were kind and welcoming.
Stern, judgmental eyes.
Did he have any scars?
Yeah, he did. In his hands.
Yeah, he had scars definitely on his hands and his feet. He had this really gnarly scar on the side. It's a real bummer.
He spent a lot of time meditating and focusing on, the internals and praying.
Yeah, he was a rep. I mean, he didn't take anything from anybody. You know, he always fought against society, fought against the man.
He's definitely Republican, definitely conservative. If the poor don't work, they don't eat.
He didn't pass any judgment. He just loved you for who you were.
You know, he also wears a tuxedo t-shirt a lot, you know, because, you know, he means business, but he also knows how to party.
So that's our sermon series, Sketch Artist. Do you guys recognize any of those people? There was one really good-looking guy without any glasses on. Oh, that was good. Sam wins though. He said my name, so I'm gonna buy him McDonald's. Sorry, Michelle, if you're watching at home. All right, so we are going to be doing a series called Sketch Artist, and basically what we're going to be doing is we are going to be breaking down the different stereotypes that people have about Jesus, and we're going to be talking about who he really is. And so tonight, we are going to be talking about hippie Jesus. Are you guys ready to talk about some hippie Jesus? Next week, we're going to be talking about socialist Jesus, because believe it or not, that is a thing that I hear all the time, that Jesus is a socialist. Now, the week after that, we're going to be talking about Republican Jesus, because a lot of people out there believe that Jesus is a Republican. Sorry, I wasn't intentionally looking at the camera. There was no subtext there. Sorry if you're watching at home, I wasn't targeting you. And the week after that, we're going to be talking about good teacher Jesus, because there's a lot of people in the world that believe that Jesus is just a good teacher who talked about being nice. So, I have another video I'm going to show you guys, and because I've decided that it's hard for me to perfectly describe hippie Jesus, so I'm going to show you hippie Jesus instead. This is our last video today.
Being vulnerable is very important because it's a true expression of who you are. And it's this side of you that doesn't have any shielding. It's you. Down to your deepest essence. Everybody's vulnerable. We're all sensitive, scared, nervous, vulnerable. I see the world as very dirty, painful. A lot of people look at my eyes and they see sad eyes. All the suffering that you cause on yourself, and everybody's pushing bad energy on people, but this part of it, I love it too. I enjoy the uncomfortable because it's energy. They're very engaged when they're in that position. And I don't understand what makes that happen, but I go with it and make it part of a performance. Look for the smiles, giggles, and laughter. The small things are enormous things. Know that you're allowed to forgive yourself. Don't judge. You learn to appreciate yourself more.
You guys like Jesus in a Speedo? No. You couldn't, the first time he was in the Speedo, you couldn't really tell because it was kind of cut off on the bottom. But I was waiting for you guys to be like, yeah. So you can tell everyone that Pastor Justin showed a Jesus in a Speedo tonight. So that is a funny version of hippie Jesus, all right? That's a guy standing on the corner holding a rubber chicken and a sign that says, love yourself, accept yourself. And the idea is that there are a lot of people in this world who believe that Jesus is just this passive, soft, peace-obsessed, accepting of everything and everyone, and someone who just wants you to love yourself and take care of yourself and make peace in the world. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, do you think you've ever heard people talk about hippie Jesus in this way? There's a lot of people that reject Jesus because they can't take him seriously, because he's so soft, because he's almost like a Muppet or like someone from Sesame Street, right? Like there's not enough of a real person there, they think. And if you only read certain parts of the Bible, you could think this is true. You could think Jesus is just this dude standing on a corner waving a sign that says love yourself and everybody else. But Jesus is so much more than someone that just says love everybody. So I'm going to read some of the parts of the Bible that might make it seem that's all Jesus is. And then we're going to start talking about why Jesus is so much more than hippie Jesus, all right? So Matthew 5, 43 through 45 says, "You have heard the law that says, love your neighbor and hate your enemy, but I say, love your enemies, pray for those who persecute you. And that way you'll be acting as true children of your Father in heaven." So that seems very loving, right? This next verse is Matthew 22, 37 through 40. Jesus replied, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul and all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. The second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself." The entire law and all the demands of the prophets are based on these two commandments. You guys have heard that before, right? I've preached on that. The two commandments God has is love God and to love people. And John 3:13, 34 through 35 says, "So now I'm giving you a new commandment. Love each other. Just as I have loved you, you should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples." And so one of the key themes in Jesus' ministry was loving God and loving people. If all you ever read was the parts of the Bible where Jesus talked about love, you would be seeing hippie Jesus, all right? That's what hippie Jesus would be. But hippie Jesus is part of a grander aspect of who God is and who Jesus was sent to be. Because Jesus came to start a revolution. That's my first point. Okay? Hippie Jesus came to create peace. Jesus came to start a revolution. And the truth about revolutions is that they're divisive. There's a revolution going on right now across America in the way people are going after the police system, because they believe that the police system is corrupt. And whether or not you agree with it, it's a revolution, because you have to take a position, right? You can't say, I don't care if there's police or not, because some people are trying to get rid of the police. Does that make sense? A revolution is a divisive thing. And so you have to choose a side, and that's what Jesus came to do. He came to start a revolution in the way that we live our lives. In Luke 12, 49 through 53, he says this: "I've come to set the world on fire, and I wish it were already burning. I have a terrible baptism of suffering ahead of me, and I'm under heavy burden until it's accomplished. Do you think I've come to bring peace to the earth? No. I've come to divide people against each other. From now on, families will be split apart, 3 in favor of me and 2 against, or 2 in favor and 3 against. Father will be divided against son, mother against daughter, daughter against mother, and mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law." Jesus came because one day every person alive is going to stand in front of God, and they're going to be judged for the life that they've lived. And this is something that we don't like to talk about because it can be uncomfortable. Because people don't like hearing about judgment, right? But this is a key part of understanding what God's plans for the world are. Because if God is ever going to set the world right, there has to be judgment somewhere in the story. And what God's done in His grace is He has suspended judgment so people can find forgiveness in Jesus. So that they can come to Jesus and find forgiveness. But eventually, God's judgment is coming. And what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to live our lives in a way and to follow after Jesus in such a way that we become His people. And there's this phrase that we say in Christianity. It's I am saved, I am being saved, and I will be saved. And it's the idea that I had a moment where I became saved, where I became a follower of Jesus. All right? That happened in my past. And when we say I'm being saved, it means currently in my present life, I am drawing closer to Jesus. And through that, I am continually being saved by that decision. And the idea is that as these two things combine, one day when Jesus returns and we all face judgment, I will be saved. I think I flipped this page over. Yes. Jesus' teaching, it was so strong and it was so divisive that people didn't accuse Him of being a peace-loving hippie. Okay, this is important to understand. Because when Jesus was going around and He was preaching, they didn't say, wow, that Jesus is such a hippie. I bet he smokes weed. I bet he does drugs. I bet he goes around and just lives in a commune or in a tent. He doesn't shower. Jesus smells. You know, I bet he's a vegan. I bet he doesn't eat meat. No. No one accused Jesus of any of these things. They accused Jesus of being demon-possessed. I'm going to read this. You guys ready for a huge chunk of scripture? Put on your focusing goggles. Put on your paying attention caps. I know if this were me in the audience, I would need to actually focus because I have ADHD. So focus, okay? This is John 8:31-48. Well, it's not that many verses. Jesus said to the people who believed in him, "You are truly my disciples if you remain faithful to my teachings. And you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." "But we're descendants of Abraham," the people in the crowd said. "We've never been slaves to anyone. What do you mean you'll be set free?" Jesus replied, "I tell you the truth. Everyone who sins is a slave of sin. A slave is not a permanent member of the family, but a son is part of the family forever. So if the Son sets you free, you're truly free. Yes, I realize that you in the crowd are descendants of Abraham, and yet some of you are trying to kill me because there's no room in your hearts for my message. I'm telling you what I saw when I was with the Father, but you are following the advice of your father." Jesus is saying that their father is a bad person. "Our father is Abraham," they declared. "No," Jesus replied, "for if you were really the children of Abraham, you would follow his example. Instead, you're trying to kill me because I told the truth, which I heard from God. Abraham never did such a thing. No, you're imitating your real father." They replied, "We aren't illegitimate children of God. God himself is our true father." Jesus told them, "If God were your father, you would love me, because I've come to you from God. I'm not here for my own, but he sent me. Why can't you understand what I'm saying? It's because you can't hear me. For you're children of your father, the devil." Ooh. Has anyone ever called you a child of Satan? That's probably good. I don't think any of you are children of Satan. Let me look in the chat just to make sure. Is there anyone in there? No. You guys are good too. He was a murderer from the beginning. He has always hated the truth because there's no truth in him. When he lies, it is consistent with his character, for he is a liar and the father of lies. So when I tell you the truth, you just naturally don't believe me. Which of you can truthfully accuse me of sin? And since I'm telling you the truth, why don't you believe me? Anyone who belongs to God listens gladly to the words of God, but you don't listen because you don't belong to God. The people retorted, "You Samaritan devil. Didn't we say all along that you were possessed by a demon?" So what was this massive section about? It was an argument between Jesus and a crowd of people who were saying, "We're children of Abraham. Your message is wrong. We're following God." And Jesus is saying, "No, you're not. You are not following God. You are not children of Abraham. You're liars. You're deceivers. You're murderers. And you are following the example of your true father, the devil." And they were so upset with him that they called him demon-possessed. This is what Jesus was accused of. Jesus was accused of being a drunk. He was accused of being a sinner. He was accused of being demon-possessed. He was not accused of being a soft, cushy, peace-loving hippie. And this is important when we talk about hippie Jesus, because Jesus came with the attitude of a revolutionary and a conqueror. Jesus wasn't a hippie. It says Jesse was a warrior. That's a typo. That's Michelle's typo. Michelle. Because she typed it in last week. Jesus was a warrior. Jesse was a character in Toy Story 2. Jesus came to start a war against injustice, religious hypocrisy, sinfulness, and anything else that stands in the way of God's kingdom being established on earth as it is in heaven. You guys know the story when Jesus goes to the temple, right? Raise your hand if you've never heard the story of Jesus at the temple, and I'll tell you. It's okay, don't feel bad. This is what church is for. This is how I explain things. Jesus is in Jerusalem, and he goes to the temple, and he looks around, and he sees the temple filled with people selling animals for sacrifices that shouldn't be sold for sacrifices. He sees people exchanging money, and it's the temple, which is supposed to be the place where you come to honor God and lift his name up, has become this place where you cheat other people out of money, where you paint an animal to hide all the flaws in its fur and its body, where you sell animals that you know shouldn't be sacrificed to people who can't afford anything else. The temple of God had turned into this farce and this den of evil people. And Jesus sees this happening, and he doesn't come in and hug everybody. He doesn't come in and tell people to love each other and to love themselves. Jesus starts flipping tables. Jesus grabs a whip, opens all the animals' cages, and chases the animals out of the temple. Because Jesus cares deeply about God's temple, and he fights to see God's kingdom established on this earth. Jesus wasn't a hippie, he was a warrior. And Jesus acted violently in his anger in that moment. That's important for us to understand. Jesus chose violence. Flipping tables, cracking a whip at animals, destroying the businesses that people had established was a violent, destructive act of justice for what was happening in God's temple. And Jesus knew that he painted a target on his back by doing that, because immediately he had sealed his death warrant, because he threatened the power of the religious leaders in doing so. The entire system existed to give them money. And so Judas betrayed Jesus to these people. They arrested him. They came to him with swords. But Jesus, the warrior, not Jesus the pacifist, but Jesus the warrior, gave himself over to them without resistance. Jesus could have fought them, and he would have won. Jesus the warrior chose to give himself over to death peacefully, because he did this to show the world how powerless it is, how evil and broken it is. Jesus the warrior chose a peaceful death to put the world to shame, because after he died, he came back. And the promise of Jesus' resurrection is that when we follow in his footsteps, we get to experience resurrection as well. Erica, you can come on up. We're going to close. Young person, I want you to understand this. Jesus did not come as some soft, weak, ineffectual man standing on a corner with a sign about loving yourself and finding peace with every person in this world. Jesus calls you to love your enemies because he's calling you to wage war against hatred. Jesus asks you to love your neighbor as yourself because he wants you to wage war with the selfishness that lies inside of your heart. Do you understand this? This is not a peaceful strategy. This is an act of war against the evil that lies within you. Jesus says to love one another because one day he is going to come back and look at our world. And he's going to look at the parts that don't match his vision, that don't match his kingdom. He's going to look at all the little nooks and crannies. He's going to look at the people. He's going to look at the cities. He's going to look at the nations that don't belong in his kingdom. And he is going to put them in a place of eternal separation, punishment, and suffering. And we've been called to wage war against that. Because God doesn't want that to happen to this world. A hippie is passive. They don't do things. A conqueror goes out and does. A warrior goes to battle. In God's kingdom, love becomes a tool to fight the evil in this world, to fight the evil in ourselves, and to bring God's kingdom down. He is not calling you to passive, soft, weak, ineffectual life. He's calling you to something abundant and impactful and meaningful. Some of you have forgotten this. Some of you want hippie Jesus because you don't have to do anything. Hippie Jesus doesn't expect anything of you but to just come here and talk to me. Let me give you a hug. Warrior Jesus, conqueror Jesus puts a sword in your hand and says, go out, make disciples. Go out, chase down the people that you hate the most in this world and reconcile with them. So the both of you reconcile, and then show them how to reconcile with me. Warrior Jesus tells you to wage war with yourself. When you're not aligned with his heart, when you aren't aligned with his kingdom, pick up a sword and go to war in your own heart. Warrior Jesus knows that one day he's going to come back to judge the world. And it's our job to make sure that it's ready as it can be. Would you guys just bow your heads and close your eyes? Maybe you've believed this, that Jesus, this lie that Jesus is a soft-spoken hippie. And you need to spend some time realigning your vision of who Jesus is. You need to realign your heart. Would you just pray with me? Bow your heads, close your eyes. If that's you and you're like, you know what, I've kind of bought into hippie Jesus, would you just raise your hand so I can pray over you? No one's looking around, eyes are closed. Thank you. You can put your hands down. I just want you to pray with me in your heart. Jesus, would you set my heart on fire for you? Would I desire something more than a soft relationship? Would I desire something more than a connection? Would I pick up a sword and go to war the way you did, Father? Not violently, but through love. Would I wage war the way you've asked me to, Father, against the evil in this world and against the evil in myself? Would I love the way you loved, not in a soft, passive way, but in a revolutionary way, Father? In a way that puts the truth of your kingdom into this world. And if people aren't willing to accept that truth, would you give me the confidence to move on and bring it with me somewhere else? And some of you in this room haven't really given Jesus any place in your life. Maybe you were like, yeah, I'm a Christian, I go to church, but I have no place for Jesus. I've kind of kept him on the fringe, I've kept him on the outskirts, because I don't want to give Jesus the power in my life. I don't want to give Jesus control in my life. If that's you, would you just raise your hand? I want to pray with you. I want to pray over you. You can pray just in your heart and agree with me. You can put your hands down. Jesus, I want you to be the most important part of my heart. I want you to be the most important part of my mind. I want you to be the most important part of my spirit. I want you to be the most important part of my life, Father. Would you do something in me? Would you change my heart? Would you clean out all the junk so you can take the most important place in my life? Not as a soft person, not as a weak-willed man, but as a warrior, as a revolutionary. Would you take your place in my heart? Jesus, Yeshua, conqueror. Would you conquer my heart? In your name, amen. We're going to go into worship. I just want to encourage you, if you prayed with me, I want you to spend some time praying on your own with God while we sing this song. Everyone else, you can spread back out, find a spot, and just sing this song with me and Eric.
No place I'd rather be. No place I'd rather be. No place I'd rather be. Here in your love, here in your love. There's no place I'd rather be. No place I'd rather be. No place I'd rather be. Here in your love, here in your love. There's no place I'd rather be. No place I'd rather be. No place I'd rather be. Here in your love, here in your love. There's no place I'd rather be. No place I'd rather be. No place I'd rather be. Here in your love, just come and fill our hearts. There's no place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. And here in your love, here in your love. There's no place I would rather be. No place I invite him to set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you. Invite him to set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more. I want to burn for you. So set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want to sing, I want more, 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 I want more. So pour it out. I want more, 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 I want more. So pour it out. I want more, 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 I want more. So pour it out. I want more, 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 I want more. So pour it out. So set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. You're a warrior, God. And we will partner with you to see a change in our world.
Father, would you light us on fire? Would you light our houses, our families, our lives, our schools, our cities, our streets? Would they be lit on fire for you? Would we go to war against evil in this world? Would we go to war on the benefit of the people that you love so much? would we go to war against the evil inside of ourselves? Would we wage that war with love as a tool, as a weapon in our hands, the way you did when you died on that cross for us? In your name. Amen. All right, we ended at exactly 8:15. Can you just clap for me right now? Clap for us. Not me, don't clap for me, clap for us. Because that has never happened in the history of this youth ministry. We ended on exactly on time. So, what we're doing tonight is, if you would like to, and if you have the ability to, we are going to be making a trip over to McDonald's, going through the drive-thru, getting food, and then coming back to the church to hang outside. We are not doing a bonfire, because I don't want to overdo the bonfire thing and make it boring and old. So, some of you don't have rides that can take you there. So if you are able to drive, people, it would be greatly appreciated if you would be willing to drive some people. And if you have not gotten permission from your parents, you should probably do that right now. We are going to be getting picked up from the church at 9 o'clock tonight. So, if you want to go to McDonald's, my advice is to go there soon. If you have cash and you're not related to the person that's in your vehicle, it might be a good idea just to pay that person and have them put it on their card or something like that. Leaders, if you could take students, my only request is that we keep it to, like leaders don't, like a girl leader shouldn't take one boy. Female leaders, if you're going to take a boy, you need to bring at least a girl with you so that there's 2 people in the car. Same for boy leaders with girls. You guys good? All right, figure it out. If you need a ride, I can take some people too. Sweet. See you, stream. Wait, don't go yet. Did any of you in the stream answer? I see. Who's XLR8 Gaming? That's Grant? Okay. I don't know who that is. Oh, all right. Well, no one. Sam got the highest in the chat. So Sam, why don't you come get a candy bar if you can hear my voice? Oh, you liar. Sam just lied to me. Well, if you're at home, and you could probably put something in the chat. I mean, no one's gonna stop you, right? If you put it in the chat right now, I'll take it. So I'm talking, if the teal girls are still watching, there's no reason not to. Put your score in, I'll give it to you. If the porters are watching, get your dad's YouTube thing pulled up. Get someone's YouTube channel pulled up. Just comment what your score was. Rewind. Go watch the opening game over again. It's all recorded, you just gotta dig a little bit for it. I don't know. I miss you guys. Hope to see you soon. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're not going crazy from being stuck in the house so much. Hope your parents aren't going crazy from being stuck in the house too much. I don't know. I was thinking about that during worship. I was thinking about how much I missed you guys. You know, Josh and Alana, and Lydia, and Madison. I don't know who else is watching. I know the teal girls are watching because they comment, and I know the porters are watching because their parents tell me they're watching. But I don't know who else is watching these. So Sydney watched. So if you're not one of the people I named and you're watching, I don't even know because you haven't been in the chat. You haven't talked to me, and it makes me sad. Okay, I'm gonna go.